We've all been hearing about cookieless browsers, GDPR, data laws, and how the first party data is gaining importance day by day. Throughout our session today and in all conversations in the past 100 days. And to address these challenges and actually explore some alternatives to cookie based data, our next panel will talk about shifting from cookies to identities, thriving in an anonymous world. And to kickstart this discussion, let me invite Prasad Shejale, founder and CEO of Logiserve Digital. Prasad is a voracious reader, and a keen learner in the field of digital marketing and technologies. He founded Logiserve Digital, which is one of the largest digital marketing companies in India. Welcome, Prasad. Glad to have you on board.
Thank you very much, Shiny. Thanks a lot.
Over to you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So we have a very really interesting and relevant topic to discuss today, shifting from cookies to identities. And I'm sure, irrespective of whether you are a big tech company or a brand marketer or a publisher or an affiliate or a agency or a probably inventory exchange or a third-party identity graph company or a consumer like you and me, all of us, everyone will get affected soon in the third-party cookieless world. So to get this different perspective, we have panelists covering one or more of these different profiles. Today morning we had a long heated discussions with respect to this when we were wearing those different hats there. So here we have Ishan Bose. Can you go online? Yeah. Ishan, yeah, okay. So he's the chief marketing officer at CreditBee, a fintech lending platform for professionals. He has driven different business functions at his current organization, ranging from sales management and business development to customer experience and PR. He's also a TEDx speaker, wow, and has spoken at many other forums in country in topics related to marketing and sales and entrepreneurship. Ishan is representing a brand marketer and advertisers view today. Welcome, Ishan.
Thank you so much for the kind introduction, Prasad, and I'm looking forward to the discussion.
Good. Okay, so we have Neeraj Singhal. He is a VP Programmatic Services at Accenture. He drives programmatic and marketing transformation initiatives for Accenture clients. He's passionate about audience data and analytics and use cases it solves for marketing ecosystem. And I didn't know this. He told me in the morning, and I was very happy. Congratulations that he was awarded India's top 100 innovative MarTech leaders in 2019. Neeraj is representing DSP Agency View, and from his previous experience can also help us to decipher technology and exchanges view too. Welcome, Neeraj.
Hey, thanks, Prasad. Looking forward to the conversation.
Definitely. And we have Puneet Gupt. He's the Chief Operating Officer at Times Internet, India's largest digital consumer product organization. In his career with Times Internet, Puneet has played key roles across multiple initiatives, giving him a unique appreciation of both brands and publishers' expectations from the advertising ecosystem. His team also drives Times Internet's ad tech platform, Columbia. All of us know about it. And Columbia has its own ad server and DMP with first-party data for more than 520 million profiles. That is 500 million profiles that they have. Puneet is definitely going to give us a view from the publisher's perspective as well as from a brand marketer's perspective in the third-party cookieless world. So welcome, Puneet.
Thanks for inviting me here in the session. Looking forward to have a great discussion.
Thank you. So, on top of it, all of us are consumers and represent society, and we like to hear views as consumers and individuals too. But before that, Shiny has asked me to she's asked me that there'll be a poll question. So, Shiny, can you put that up, please? I suppose it's a very easy one. Yeah. Yeah, interesting question. I thought this would just give us but I don't know the responses. So somehow, Shiny, you have to help me to keep the number. Somehow the panel is
I'm going to end the polling now and share the responses.
I really want to know what it is.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting.
So do you see it now?
Yes,
Oh,
as
wow.
expected.
Wow, 24%. Who is 43? I said maybe. So, what I would do is I'll add that 43 and 33 there and just assume 76% of, people are sort of not ready for what's going to hit them very soon. For Ishan, you are going to represent the brands and advertisers view here. Identity is hard, and it's getting even more complex with Google's announcement that it plans to end the support of third-party cookies in its Chrome browser within next 2 years. So, as a brand advertiser, how much is your dependency on cookie as of now?
Sure, Prasad. So that's a very interesting question, and I would probably take the view of both web marketing and mobile marketing, because we are primarily an app-based platform. So while cookies would affect mostly, the platforms that rely on the website of acquisition, I would also touch upon another regulation or another news that came out that Apple in its latest iOS 14
IDFA
is going to be making the IDFA, which is Identifier for Advertising, which is a parallel to the Ad ID for Google or Android devices.
Yeah,
it would require an explicit opt-in for each app that the user launches and signs up. So, and as you rightly said, for with respect to the web, Google has or might or rather will move out of third-party cookies by 2020. So from the app side, one biggest challenge would be that we'll now be getting aggregate level data rather than user level data. So all our campaigns, all our ads, the effectiveness, while we'll still get to know that how effective they were at an aggregate level, we wouldn't be able to identify how they impacted each and every user. So even the campaigns that are not performing the best at an aggregate level might be more relevant to certain users or certain cohorts. So that's one challenge that I see as an advertiser, to identify that level or to go to that level of personalization. Then the user data that we used to rely on a lot for our marketing, and you used to even identify certain pseudo parameters which you were not able to identify in general from the users, from the users in general. So let's say we want to target specific to credit score. Now, credit score is not something that a Google or a Facebook would allow you to target with respect to, right? So we would identify certain user-specific information which would act as an alias or a pseudo indicator to CIBIL or any bureau score. So these kind of things now become more difficult because that level of user information is not there. Then retargeting becomes difficult. Personalized offers specific to the user data becomes difficult. Then tracking multiple conversion events. As per the regulation, you can only get one single conversion event within 24 hours of the app launch. So that again puts in a challenge. So putting parameters like revenue becomes a challenge. What happens because of that is lot of data with respect to lifetime value. When you want to tie it back beyond the CRM data becomes difficult. Right. So these are certain issues at the web level. From a cookie standpoint, automation based on user behavior becomes a challenge, because earlier there were so many use cases where based on my behavior in different apps or different websites, rather when I come to a third website, because of the cookies that were placed on my browser, I'll see a relevant ad or a relevant pop-up, which might not happen. So the user relevance goes south. So these are a few challenges I personally see as an advertiser or as a brand or a performance marketer, that I might face because of this.
But I think, Ishan, the good part of it is that for you as a app, probably once a person comes there, there's a good chances that you will track him as much as possible. But before he comes in there, as you rightly said, the IDFA is coming so up there in front of you to say that you don't want to opt for it. So that's Neeraj of, when you are wearing the hat of a programmatic, advertiser or a agency or things like that, then right audiences, right personalization, right frequency, all that optimization that we are talking about. So what's your dependency on cookies as of now? Okay, and how difficult that you think world would be if there is no cookie would be there? Okay, so I'm quite sure all of us depend on the cookie, definitely from the programmatic perspective a lot. Then what is it? Where is it now? You already have seen 48% and 58% people, rather 76% of the people, they are not ready. So what's your take on that?
See, we live in a world dominated by cookies, right? Both in our physical world and in our virtual world, right? We cannot live without cookies. In fact, that is something that is a reality right now. Personalization, user behavior, journeys, everything is dependent on user tracking, which happens through cookies. It is not 100% correct to be said that personalization will go away with cookie going away, because then we'll be moving to a substitute, which will be a universal ID, which obviously will solve a lot of the use cases, which we'll discuss in a couple of minutes. But as of now, as we speak, for a success of a programmatic campaign or personalization at scale, cookies stroke device IDs have to be the primary medium. They have been for years now. We are dreading it to go away in the next 2 years, but we have to be prepared. 76% people not being prepared means that we need to redevelop our customer data architecture. We need to probably make sure that we get our sign-ins in place, our opt-ins in place, make sure that our ecosystem is ready to handle that data. This is what will define success from a struggle. So as of now, at least for the next 2 years, things remain the same until the cookies go away completely. But things need to paddle up pretty soon.
So Neeraj, just now you sort of confessed in front of almost 300, 400 people is that your dependency on cookies is very much high, which is true. It's good that you didn't say, which is true. Thank you very much for being so straightforward and saying that yes, and that is where probably all of us are going to get ready in next 2 years to to make sure that we are ready for it. But so Puneet, okay, I sort of suppose that Times Internet is one of the largest publisher, and I'm quite sure the cookies are pretty important now for you too. So what is your dependency on cookie? And I also sort of read and heard from you that more than 500 million first party data that you have. But nevertheless, your dependency on cookie as of today, as of this moment. Can you just throw some light there, please, Puneet?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll speak for Times Internet and the publisher community at large.
Yes.
Right? So I'll start with an example, right? Nearly every company in the world at some point in its lifetime has an IT project that's called OneView, right? And then cookie syncing has been helping the AdTech ecosystem with that OneView. One vendor would have X amount of information, the other one would have Y, and then you combine it to get that one view of the user, and that helps us with multiple ways, right? At least I have seen on Times of India that when targeted well, third-party cookies and targeting will give me a 30 to 50% lift on my yields when there is accurate user information and targeted well. Now, if the third-party cookies are not there, what is the challenge? I think you do some attribution, which means that as a publisher, I don't get my fair share of what I could have made, right? You mess up with frequency capping, so which means that you could either show more ads or less ads. Either of it is not right for the ecosystem. You mess up on retargeting. So you can't, let's say someone has found out the great user, which is the perfect LTV for their business, and they want to extend it and find it on the Times Internet ecosystem. But now because of this third-party cookie going away, crumbling, you can't do that 2 years from now. So whether it's across attribution, rendering of ads, retargeting, or personalization, I think cookie is the framework on which this entire thing is built, right? There is one small cons that we always saw with third-party cookie syncing is about 5 to 10 seconds delay that used to happen in the rendering of ads, right? So we believe that as it moves in the future to a user ID kind of a platform, and user ID is, to me, is just like one more key. A cookie was a key in the database terms, and the user ID becomes a primary key, so to say, right? So rather than syncing in real time, you have already synced the data in a user ID, and that information is available, right? So when you move from cookies to user ID, possibly you still get all the benefits of a cookie, but lower impact on page loads and all of that. Quickly coming to your question on Times Internet, I think we have been lucky and slightly far-sighted. I'll give that credit to us that we have been investing in our Columbia AdTech platform. This is a platform which takes information from all of Times Internet's properties, user consent enabled, where we have about 525 million profiles bucketed in our 7,000 user segments. So today we can target a campaign across any of these user segments, which is first-party data, and play with both AI and ML in choosing the right segments and lookalikes across the Times Internet ecosystem, right? So I think I'll summarize this part, saying that from a publisher's perspective, yes, you're taking a part of me away, part of the value away, but it's giving a reason for all of us to look back into our own ecosystems and start to develop first party data and value add.
Yeah, definitely. In the morning, just to give a backstage what happened in the morning. In the morning, when police was talking about this 500 million identities that they have, we were trying to form a consortium there, saying that how it can be utilized. But coming back to the challenges that you have talked about, and I think in the first session also, Prab and Nikhil, both of them talked about the identity. But to solve this identity puzzle in a sort of a post-cookie world, some of the challenges that I foresee with respect to one size doesn't fit all. We already saw there are around 8 to 9 different types of people or players who play into it, and their definition of identity changes across lines of business, types of technology platforms, and so on and so forth. Another challenges could be there are data gaps in terms of attribution and coverages. Then there are people sharing their devices, phones, and email addresses, then getting that data regularly. What I understand is a report that I was reading a few weeks back, there are more than 30% of the brands, first party identity related data needs to be changed because, it becomes obsolete over a year. And then there are multiple things. And I think two more important things are the customer experience and getting that compliance right. So there are so many, apart from the, getting the optimization and the best thing for you and, making money on top of it. I think there are a lot of host of other different challenges that you face. So how are you getting ready for a post-cookie identity-driven world? I think, Puneet, you touch based a bit on that. If you really want to a bit of more about what your guys are doing. I mean, first session was all of us depended too much on cookie. Okay, you talked from the publisher and Times Internet perspective too, and you have just touched based on how are you getting ready. Later on, I'll talk to Neeraj and Ishan and ask about their readiness also.
Sure. So I think we are looking at it like a blessing in disguise. And why a blessing in disguise, right? Because for so many years, everyone was running behind vanity metrics of reach and frequency, right? And for publisher, it was about being on top of Comscore rather than creating a relationship with their users. Now this third-party cookie going away is a great flip for us to really go back to the roots of what our business is. That business is talking to our customers, knowing more about their customers, right? It's something to say, yes, I know Bill Gates, he started Microsoft and then, he runs a large charity. But it's something else to be sitting on a table, having a breakfast with Bill Gates, understanding about his interests and, what drives him. And that's the kind of relationship that, every brand and every publisher now needs to build with its own consumers. So as publishers, I think we need to work towards getting deterministic information about our users. And deterministic is something that's not just by browsing behaviors, right? But by user voluntarily giving information. Whether it's about an email ID, a phone number, a gender, an income bracket, or interest areas, right? Because today Facebook has the best deterministic data available. How can we reach some level of that determinism is what we are trying. And there are multiple ways to do it, right? Some publishers will say, okay, I'll put a paywall so people have to register, and then I'll figure out some 5 fields from the user. And some will say, okay, paywall is too hard, I'll put a login wall at least. So after 10 articles, guys have to log in so that I understand at least some bit about them. Or someone else will say, okay, I'll create a great loyalty program because people will give me data so that I'll take them the next level of their loyalty structure and then give them reward. So I think each publisher will work differently, but I think this is time to enrich your data sets and figuring out how do you work with all of these systems,
Yeah, I think.
While we have Columbia, there are still 2 years before a real industry standard is going to emerge. Whether it's going to be privacy sandbox or a user ID mechanism, right? So multiple people will run for it, and what happens 2 years from now, we don't know. But it's a good enough lead time to create that relationship, create that one view, and then those are the real assets that we own them.
Yeah, Puneet, I can understand. I think the way the big, the way I think people talk about the big guys like you probably get a good amount of advantage because you have 500 million one. But I'm not going to discuss what happened today morning again. Neeraj, how are you guys trying to be ready for it? And Ishan, a quick word on that too. It will really help. We have 2 more questions to go.
Sure. So the key is we need to move towards a customer consented data set very, very quickly, right? There are no two ways about it. How this will actually happen is obviously the consortium which we discussed. If the ecosystem comes together and probably have a shared data services or shared data for success, which can probably have a common identifier as a universal ID, and that can be used for targeting. Point number two is we need to have our brands and the publisher both need to have the data architecture in place, right? The use of cloud has to increase so that the consent mechanism is built in place at the very start, with a clear-cut exit for a user to exit the ecosystem if he wants to. And point number two, which is very clearly from the advertising ecosystem, is tokenization, which is the universal ID has to be tokenized so that it works across the supply side and the demand side, which will actually help the ecosystem to grow. My biggest fear, my biggest challenge probably, and the biggest thing that I am looking forward is scale. In terms of once the data sets get tokenized, once the universal IDs are established, what impact does it have on scale? And it will actually depend on the scale of identity provider, right? The graph, for example. So we might have graphs coming in from Google and Facebook, which are pretty dominant in itself with the kind of size they have. We have the size coming in from the likes of LiveRamp and Zeotap, for example. And we also have the publisher consortium. So maybe I'm looking at an ideal world wherein everybody fits in together and works for the betterment of advertising.
Yeah, I think Ishan, how are you guys sort of getting ready for it? I think your life must be easier with the app as the backbone, but I think probably those who are not apps, how would you do that? I think Ishan really want to know about that.
Sure. So I think very, very pertinent points raised by the panel. I think Puneet very rightly talked about that one view, and then you and Neeraj highlighted about a consortium coming together and having the universal ID. So I think that in itself, while it will be a little operationally and it will be a regulatory mile to be crossed, so to say. But having said that, once we are able to do that, I think that will make everything a more level playing field rather than things being slightly more tilted towards self-serve platforms like Facebook and Google, which have a lot of user data on their platform and which don't typically rely on third-party cookies for their targeting. I think the other way to do it is to make it somehow subtle, have some kind of subtle incentivization or gamification for users to opt into IDFA or to kind of provide certain information about themselves onto the publisher platform, because as Puneet rightly mentioned, without that the publishers might find a handicap of just targeting the users, so to say. There are certain other methodologies like passive methodologies like fingerprinting, then contextual native advertising and all that. But I really don't think with so much progress that has happened in performance and brand marketing over the last couple of or rather last decade, so to say, people would really, or the advertisers would really resort back to those slightly traditional methods of digital marketing. So I think people will figure a way out. And also I think on the app side, people there will be more talks with Apple and Google, because when you talk about tracking, it's a very open-ended term, right? Even if you look at the statement that has come out from on the Apple's website, it does not very categorically define tracking. So I see that all these MMPs and attribution platforms having more dialogues to make sure that the scope of attribution is something that is kept out of sharing data across different third-party websites and apps, and I think that might just work out.
Yeah, I think just to for the benefit of everyone here, I will sort of go through some of the initiatives there, but nevertheless, I personally feel is that those who control a device, OS, and browser have advantage. Okay, those who sort of control device, OS, and browser, they will have advantage in the cookieless world. But there are multiple initiatives. Okay, and I think Neeraj, you sort of went here and there in terms of mentioning some of those. But let me put those three things a few here. First one is Privacy Sandbox. It's a Google initiative, a set of Google tools. There is people are talking about all those cookie replacement technologies, OEM-driven ones. Okay, for example, the handset manufacturers and the browsers can come together and they can have that. Then there could be a consortium of sort of a what they say authenticated traffic solutions, that sort of a stuff. Then private exchanges and ad networks, they can come together and have that consortium there. Then there is an interesting thing that I was talking about, blockchain based one, okay, where consumer control consent based identifiers through the blockchain one. So one can say that this is the time I'm allowing to have the identity done, and then I plug it off that. Very interesting one. I met someone who was very passionate about it. Very, very interesting one. And definitely brand gardens. Okay, the brands can come together and they can have identity and they can sort of share with it. But these are so many of those which are talking about. I think Neeraj and Ishan and Puneet, I want to ask that, and very simple because we have hardly some 6 minutes all left. So what are these, who will be the winner according to you, and what will be the implications? Okay, so if you just fast forward everything, 2 years down the line, everything. So who could be? And it's just a guess. Okay, no one is going to hold you responsible 2 years, one day down the line. Okay, so what is it?
Look, in my opinion, it cannot be a clear winner. It has to be parties coming together because a lot of data is disseminated with different data owners, be it be publishers, be it be data providers and stuff like that. So my best guess would be an ecosystem wherein everybody pulls in together. However, I'm still very confident that that Google and Facebook combined together, the reach that they would actually provide, will solve a lot of this use case. But still, for me, as I repeat myself, consortium is probably the way to go.
So yes, basically you just now said that Google and Facebook had a better chance, but consortium will be a good one, right? Okay, Puneet, you said it.
Yeah, it actually cannot be a clear winner, right?
Yeah, they have a better chance. That's what you said.
It's a.
Sorry, Puneet.
I was saying it's a marathon, right? And the race has just started. It's very difficult to predict today who will win. But I think people, as you said, Prasad, who control the gateways, right? Whether it's device or a browser, OS, the people who control the gateways will have an edge. Everyone else is running with an handicap because you may have the best solution, which may not be allowed by the gateway.
Yeah.
Having said that, I still believe that on one end, one of these solutions will win. But the greatest win is going to be the brand's relationship with the customer, which is going to improve significantly in this process, right? The moment you start to look at first-party relationship, data relationship. So I think the real winner is going to be that relationship between brands and customers and publishers and their own users.
Yeah, very well said, Puneet. I had never thought about it, but it's so very well said. Okay, because they will try to understand the consumer and try to give the that personalized special feeling to him. Ishan, that's now the question to you. Who will be the winner? Of course, I think Puneet has said your statement that we have to choose one amongst those 6 or 7 choices.
So yeah, I think I largely agree and hear what Neeraj and Puneet mentioned. If I still have to guess a winner, of course it's difficult to choose. I would say the big data firms, when you talk about the Google with its entire ecosystem of data gathering and someone like a Facebook, or even let's say moving on an entity like an Amazon, which has launched now even its it has Amazon Echo, it has Amazon Prime. So there are so many different gateways by which it is gathering data from the user. So any entity that holds first-hand user personal information in its DB, I think will definitely be agnostic to all these regulations to a large extent, because they hold the data and they are the ones who own the data. And I also largely agree to the fact that yes, gatekeepers like the devices, the browsers, and the OS for that matter. So I think whoever holds these gateways will definitely have a leverage. Also, yes, the consumer will be a winner in the longer run, because what all of this will do is not just enhance the customer experience and relevance, but also make them more aware and educated about the data regulations, which is good from an educational standpoint.
Yeah, just I think the last one a bit of difficult here as a consumer, because when we just put every one of us have put that consumer in front of and try to understand everything about him. So I as a consumer, okay, and there are a lot of cons on that. There are a lot of cons with respect to I know we are talking about GDPR and PDPB, but will consumer really get benefit actually in this game? Because there are definitely lots of hacks there. Apart from that, I think publishers, where they thrive on the advertisers' money, and that's how the content is free. And now what happens is that source gets dried up, and probably the true journalist and the content probably may not survive. It's a very different topic. It can go long and long on that. But my question to all of you three, just 1 minute, Heike, do you think the consumer is really going to benefit out of it? And think not just from the perspective of brand and consumer relationship, but his role in the society. We did this for consumer to protect his identity, and here for last half an hour we are dissecting and trying to understand what is his identity. Okay, so we are trying to game the system. So my question, and I'll end on that, is consumer like you and me really going to benefit out of this?
Can I come in?
Yeah, I can probably.
Hey, everyone, one. Last 1 minute. Shini's already started pinging me saying that ho gaya.
Go ahead, Puneet. Go ahead.
Puneet, go ahead.
So, so there are two parts to look at it, right? As a consumer, my information is only leveraged after my consent. I'm a winner, right? I would love it. Second part is my consented information being used to show me the right ads? I would love that as well, right? Because I don't want useless ads. When I'm looking for a loan and you're showing me a large house to buy or an expensive luxury item, that doesn't work for me, right? So advertisements done right is a great content, a great piece of content. So I would say these are inputs to a process that's now evolving. I would love to, for my consent to be taken, and I'll also love for right ads to be shown.
Yeah, ideal, but unfortunately that wouldn't happen. We will start bombarding them with a lot of advertisement. But nevertheless, I get that you are for it. Okay, it will benefit. Thank you very much. Neeraj, you are mute.
Yep, sorry. I would definitely say the consumer will benefit. It's about giving him a choice. You will definitely not want a blank screen of web page in front of your computer or your handset, right? You would need to have some relevant content being shown across. And if I have a choice to opt out at any point in time when I'm not happy with you and I have that power in my hand, that's a bonus. So in my point of view, this is all for the benefit of the customer.
Yeah, sure. Ishan?
Yeah, so see, if I take a myopic view, then yes, probably I feel it gives me more control of how much of my data I want to share, with whom I want to share. I know why my data is being shared, how it is being used. So maybe that ways, if I look at it, it is beneficial for me as a consumer. But in the larger picture, I would not really mind being surprised, when I walk into that black box and I relinquish that extra level of control just to see what could be relevant to me, which I might not be consciously looking for, right? And somewhere down the line, I feel there are a lot of advertisements and a lot of advertisers that rely on that level of targeting and that level of reach to the consumers, which is something that benefits both the consumers and the advertisers. So yes, I mean, from a control standpoint, it benefits me, but I might be losing out on certain propositions I might not have otherwise, just trying to control my information too much. So I think in the larger picture, I would love to be surprised.
Yeah, I think we have 2 years and lots of laws happening. And I think we also, as a consumer, will also evolve. And I think things will be better. I'm quite sure about it. But thank you very much. It's such a pleasure interacting with all of you with respect to such a great topic there. Shiny, thanks a ton for inviting in here. It was such a amazing day to interact with every one of you and understand their viewpoints. And thanks the thanks to the audiences, okay, who listened to 3 of us. And I hope we enjoyed. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. Thank you very much. Stay safe. Bye bye.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.